This is gonna be hip stability level 1. This is gonna be great because it's gonna start initiating all those muscle stabilizers that are on the hip and pelvis that you need to be able to walk and do all the stuff standing. So get a band just like this, whether you use the one I cut for you or you buy one on your own, either way, just a loop band. Lay down on your back, put the band around both legs, and then you want your feet shoulder width apart, okay? You don't want them close together. That doesn't really do much for you. You really want to set it up as if you were standing. Have have the band closer to the knee and have it at that starting position. So you start with a little bit of tension. Hands, a good place for that is just right at where the muscles are going to work. That way you know it's working in those spots, okay? So the first one's a double leg clam, which in other words, you use both legs to push out and in. So you go ahead and push out as far as you can, keeping the feet relatively flat to the table. Bring it back in slow and control, and then go back in. Notice that when she came in, she didn't come in all the way like this and loosen the band. You want to keep constant tension. The more time under tension you have, the more work you can get in. So you push all the way out, come back in, and repeat. Go again, push all the way out, come back in, and then repeat. So that's a double leg clam. The next one, you could just basically stay in that position. This time you do one leg at a time. So one leg stabilizes and the other one works. So she stabilizes this leg as she pushes out with the other leg. You don't want to, as you push out, you don't want to let the other leg to come in. That's because it's not stabilizing. You want to work on reinforcing one side as the other one's moving, just like so. Now she goes to the other side. This is what it looks like. She pushes out as she stabilizes on the other leg and other hip. That's a single leg clam. Now, as you progress through this, as you get done with those clams and those sets and reps, from here, you're going to do a bridge. And what a bridge looks like is that you lift your hips up off the table or off the bed, whatever you are, and you're going to bring your hips straight. Notice she's not curving at the back. Going to arch your back a little bit. If you arch at the back, you end up feeling it through the back. Come down. That's not where you want to feel it. This is all intended for the glutes. So the best way to think about it is arms straight, squeeze the glutes up to lift the hips up, lift the hips up off the table, come down, and then repeat. Keep going. Now, as you progress through this, or let's say it's a little too easy, one thing you can do is keep the band on around your knees, and as you're coming up, go ahead and push out just a little bit, and you'll get a lot more glute activation. So that's what a bridge looks like, okay? Now, a sideline clam is a little bit different. I'm going to show you from two different angles. So go ahead and lay down to your left. You want to go ahead and lay down on your side with your legs up just like this at an angle. You don't want your legs out back, and you definitely don't want them necessarily too up, just sort of out to the side. You get your hand and you put it right here on the back of the hip. The reason why this is important is because this is where that muscle is going to work the most. This is to ensure two things. One, you're feeling it. But two, you don't cheat coming back, and you'll see what I mean. She's going to keep her foot here, rotate the knee up, and come up. Now, this is probably a good amount of range you want. If you notice that you're coming back further and further, one, don't fall, but two, the other thing is that you're sort of cheating your way through it. You're no longer using your muscle, you're using just your hip to turn your leg back, and that's not the intention. You want to keep that hand braced against the hip. She rotates up, comes down halfway, repeats it, and goes again. The idea of this is working that part of that muscle or those muscles, a group of muscles that stabilize the hip as you walk, and that's what you need to have. So let me show you on the other angle. Go ahead and come to the other side. Roll over to the other side. Again, first thing, lay down on your side, hand on your hip right here, and from here she comes up and comes down. Notice that as she comes up, she's not trying to arch her back. Everything stays centered and fixated. The only thing moving is her knee. Ankle stays there. She comes up and comes down. That is a sideline clam. All those exercises together is a great way to start priming those muscles before you start doing more progressed exercises.